everybody. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. It's 9 p.m. here in Ireland, in the UK, 10 p.m. for Charles and Rodrigo. So, welcome to the Spiritual Light. And this week, topic it is emotional healing in the light of Spiritism. So, it's a great topic, and we do have Rodrigo with us and Charles. So, good evening, Rodrigo. How are you, my friend?
Good evening, Charles. Good evening, Stevan. So good to be here again with you. Ours a lot of happiness to share this moment with you. So to share a little bit, some comments about Spiritism. The topic today is extremely interesting. So I think many questions I think will arise in the chat. So we invite everyone to send your comments and hopefully we can provide this discussion good insights for everyone to manage the life in a good way with Spiritism foundations. Hola a todos, es una alegría estar aquí de nuevo con los amigos, con todos vosotros que estáis mirándonos por los medios de transmisión. Hoy el tópico es muy interesante. Sé que mucha gente tiene dudas y hace muchas preguntas sobre ese tema y esperamos poder contestarlas o discutirlas de una forma que salgamos de aquí hoy con algo importante para nuestra vida, ¿verdad? Así que muchas gracias y os invitamos a todos a poner vuestros comentarios en el chat.
Bonsoir, Charles.
Bonsoir, Steven. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Indeed, very interesting topic that is usually treated only from the materialist point of view, and that when considered through the wider spiritualist point of view, brings a lot of added value. So let's try to show this to you today.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Rodrigo. Thank you, Charles. I also want to say thank you to Eliana Monteiro Andrade. Thank you, Spiritism Estonia, Dan R, and Patrick. So, Patrick, thank you. Thank you for joining us. As Rodrigo said, please, if you do have any questions, please write in the comment box. We will answer your questions and we will clarify any doubts, connected or not connected with the topic, but feel free to engage with us. And last week, we looked outward. How? We look at the earth itself, at the geological and spiritual forces reshaping the world we live in. But tonight, we will look inward. So, to the emotional life, to the wounds many of us carry, and the Spiritism profound and often misunderstood understanding of how those wounds can be genuinely healed. Emotional suffering, it is one of the most universally human experiences. We lose people we love. We carry fears we cannot explain. We repeat painful patterns we cannot seem to break. Modern psychology and medicine offer real and valuable help, but Spiritism proposes that someone of what we carry has roots deeper than this current life, and that healing, therefore, requires addressing dimensions that purely material medicine cannot reach. This is not a rejection of science, it is an invitation to look further, and it's a deeply compassionate teaching. And our guest tonight, Rodrigo, will join us to starting with our questions. So, Rodrigo, what's the role of perispirits in Spiritism understanding of emotional suffering?
Well, the perispirit, according to Spiritism, is the interface between the spirit and the body. So everything which the body feels or perceives is transferred to the spirit through the perispirit, and vice versa. So the spirit commands the perispirit, who provides to the body all the commands that the spirit wants the body to fulfill. So perispirit is this interface. It's like the software, which helps the spirit to use the body for all, let's say, the experience we need to face in this material world. Um, so the perispirit is very, how can I say, um, moldable. I don't know if that's the name in English, but so we can, the perispirit receives all the influence of the spirit and transfer this to the body. So the all our of our emotions, all of our thoughts, they start, or they happen, let's say this way, in the spirit, and it's transferred to the perispirit, and the perispirit transfer the consequences of it to the body. So it means that the body is a kind of a consequence of what, as spirits, we think or feel. Um, Whenever we are, let's say, unstable emotionally speaking, the our spirit is suffering, and this suffer, or this, how can I say it, it's a suffering. It's not, it's transferred to the body, and the body, I mean, let's say, all the composition of the body, the matter itself, as we know from the Spiritism, the matter is, how can I say, is transformed, is changed, is composed by the spirit. Of course, the material that we have in our body is very dense, is not like in the spiritual world. So it's a dense, it's very densified. It is not the same way that we do that as a spirit in the spiritual world, but it receives all these commands from the spirit through the perispirit. What we know from the perispirit, from Medium's book, from the Spirit's book, and from other sources, like, from the whole, uh, um, all the books from the Spiritist doctrine. My English today is not very fluid, so we are talking about fluids today. So my English is not fluid. And so the perispirit, it's composed, or it's changed, it's molded by the spirit. Everything we feel and think changes our perispirit. So the perispirit receives the impact, or the consequences of our thoughts, of our feelings. And of course, with the perispirit receiving all of this, imagine that we are in disharmony. We are with anger, we are with fear, we are with, I don't know, whichever sentiments or thoughts which are not good, or which are not healthy. So this is affecting our perispirit, and the perispirit is transferring this to the body. So having said that, the body suffers this impact, and I wouldn't say all of the disease, but a lot of diseases are caused by this composition, this perispirit composed by bad feelings, by bad thoughts, and then we have the consequences of the diseases. Having said that, the perispirit receives everything that the spirit provides as input from feelings and from thoughts. If we want to have, let's say, a healthy body, we need to start working on having healthy thoughts and healthy feelings. So if you look at the Spiritist magazine, and also the books of Kardec, the 5 books which is normally considered the base, we note that there are a lot of influence of the thoughts and the feelings that are affecting our body. And we know that, in other words, in other planets, or let's say more advanced planets with more progressed spirits, life is longer. This has to do with this influence from the perispirit and from the thoughts of the spirit and feelings. So, of course, we have all the medicine also evolved, the material medicine, let's say the human medicine, which is touching only the matter, not only the effect. But as we have more balanced or healthy thoughts and health feelings, because we have progressed morally speaking, of course, the impact of all of these to our bodies are less harmful than what we have today. As a consequence, we live longer. And this, as we see in the Spiritist doctrine, is as soon as we are progressing, the life in matter is longer and longer. And it has to do with that. So also, when the perispirit is the instrument of the pain. I mean, so when we the instrument of the pain, no, the body is the instrument of the pain, as we learned with Kardec. So everything, so the pain that we suffer in the body, or everything that we receive as inputs from the matter, it impacts our spirit through the perispirit. So it's not only the one side, is the other way around as well. So when we receive everything that we face, sensorily speaking, in the material world, goes to the spirit through the body, and that has a consequence that is for us to understand the consequences of our actions and to learn with that. So, having said that, so perispirit is key on suffering, because it's how spirit perceives the pain, the experiences, and everything, and the other way around as well. I don't know if I could explain myself. My English is not very good today, so I'll leave a little bit more for Charles to talk about it.
No, it's English perfect, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Charles, do you want to compliment? Do you want to add? Or can I jump to the next question?
Yeah, indeed, it's a complex question. As Rodrigo well explained, perispirit is our spiritual body. It's the same. Is the interface which works in full duplex between the spirit and the physical body. And indeed, the perispirit is also the pattern of the physical body. The physical body is growing during after conception in the embryo and so on, and then maintained, albeit we are changing ourselves, the physical matter or physical body quite regularly, a little bit slower or quicker depending on the part of the body, and yet maintained. Charles is maintained Charles, Rodrigo is maintained Rodrigo, and Stevan is remained. Of course, we get older, we lose hairs and so on, so there is some effect of the age, but we remain what we are, and this is ensured not on the material body directly, but through the perispirit, which is linked. We could say cell by cell. Sometimes it's even said molecule by molecule to the physical body. So indeed, when a lot, the most of the illnesses we have in the physical body are have their origin in the spiritual body, except the one who come from outside. For instance, if you suffer a shock or injury, or if you broke a bone when you fall down and so on, it's coming from earthly sources. But there are a lot of diseases, a lot of problems, cancer or things like that, that the origin, the etiology of the illness is very poorly known by medicine today, which in fact are coming from the inside to the outside, means from the perispirit to the physical body. So, of course, the perispirit has a key role, even if emotional suffering is more linked to the spirit. It leaves some imprints in the perispirit or spiritual body. And if you really want to have a treatment, we should act not only on the physical body, which is the duty of medicine, science, psychiatry, or even psychology or whatsoever, or psychotherapy, but we should also work on the non-material aspect of this problem, of this suffering and illness, and this is then done by acting on the spiritual aspect and also on the spiritual body, which is not material in the way we understand matter in our science nowadays. And there is also another aspect, is we are incarnated in a physical body, so we have our soul, our spirit, and then we have this spiritual body, which is then the interface, full duplex with the physical body. But there are also some discarnated spirits, and they do not have a physical body anymore, but they still have a perispirit. So the spiritual influence is also acting on the perispirit, and that's another way that spiritual influence can end up in some physical illness, or even so also some emotional suffering. And that is why it is important to understand also the role of the perispirit in this spiritual influence, where the discarnated spirit, they have also a perispirit, and this perispirit can act one upon the other. So it's a quite complex question. There is no simple single
Yeah.
answer. If someone wants more details on some topic, if we are able to give it, we will do our best. Just
Yeah.
ask the
Yeah.
question.
I agree. I agree. I agree because it is very complex and it is very.
We know very little of the perispirit indeed, and there are some very thick books. There has been a lot written on the perispirit so far, but we know quite little because scientific investigation did not manage yet, or very little, to go a little bit beyond the physical matter. And the perispirit is clearly beyond the physical matter. So we lack still instruments or methods or whatever to investigate deeper this role of the perispirit in the phenomenon that everybody knows, which is life.
Yeah. So we needed to to understand. This is a very deep study, and unfortunately, a lot of people study this, and each one reach to your own conclusion. So, and we needed to. One moment. Sorry, this is a hay fever allergy. Sorry. Uh, so,
Yeah.
I want to say good evening to Louviam, to our dear friend Rubens in Denmark, from Brusca in Bardaga. So, good evening, my dear. So I think we can go to the next question.
Can I just add something to this question, because I think we
Sure,
forgot a
sure.
very important point of this fact that I received a lot of questions about, um, why I'm suffering uh, such diseases, or why I'm having, I don't know, an obsession, or why I'm having any kind of suffering which is happening in the life. So what we know is that our, as Charlie said, so the spirits, these incarnated spirits, they have the spirit, and which is the essence, and the body, in the spiritual body, which is the perispirit. So as the perispirit is molded by the thoughts of the spirit, whenever we have circumstances, let's say, which could be, and we have seen this in several books, novels, mediumistic books, talking about that, like from um, Ivone do Amaral Pereira and others. So every this unbalancing, or everything we do, or every disharmony we have in our thoughts, it affects our perispirit.
Hmm.
So imagine that we have a person who commits suicide. So here I'm not talking or judging or anything. I'm just talking about the facts. Okay. So what we have seen in several books is that the act of uh, eliminating the life in the body, so creates disharmony in the thoughts. And also, not only that, but people who have lots of or who are who have a life which is very, let's say, uh, doing bad to others, or evil life. So here I'm not judging again, but it creates some disturbance in our thoughts, in our balance uh, in the spirit. As the perispirit is molded by the thoughts, the perispirit will be suffering all the impacts of these uh, 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 thoughts which are not balanced, which are not healthy. Which means that this is, let's say, as Charles said, I like the word imprinted in the perispirit. And when the spirit is born, it's not as, let's say, a punishment, but it's just a consequence. I mean, as the perispirit, as we learned with the Spiritism, so perispirit molds as well the physical body. When the spirit is born, so all these consequences imprinted in the perispirit are transferred somehow to the incarnated body. And then we have several consequences, like people with have some uh, mental illness, or I don't know, some other diseases, or other let's say imperfections, if you can say this way, in the body, which is a consequence of everything we did with our in our life, which impacted our perispirit, and as a consequence, it impacted our physical body. And this, when we pass through a life with this, or facing these consequences, uh, we're not being rebels, let's say this way, not like taking the chance to do the best we can in these situations. This kind of adjusts our thoughts, adjust our feelings, and then we are slowly recreating the balance we need in our perispirit. And then in the future incarnations, probably we'll be having less consequences than today. So this is important to say, that because in the law of cause and consequences, So everything we face has a consequence in ourselves, and it's not a punishment. I mean, the what's the name of expiation in English?
Obsession,
Expiation.
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 Yeah,
Okay.
or
Atonement.
obsession. Or obsession. You can say obsession as well.
Okay. So this what I've heard something recently, which for me was a good concept for expiation, which is expiation has to do with the cause and effect law, while the trials has to do with the training ourselves for the future, for what we need to learn in terms of as spirits. Having said that, everything we face, which is causing suffering to us, is somehow coming. If we don't find a reason in this life, as Kardec says in the Spirits book, if we don't find, or the spirits, if we don't find a reason in this life, it comes from past lives. And then I think we can develop later on a little bit more about this, how what we should do when we have this. So okay, now I learned that everything I'm facing has a consequence in myself, or everything I did, or everything I thought, which is brought through the spirit to my body, and I'm suffering that. Okay, what do I do with that? I think that's another question we might have here, but I'll allow Charles and you, Stevan, to develop a little bit more about that.
I mean, it's very
Thank you.
interesting. You see, you have the studies done by Ian Stevenson, who he was identifying some birthmarks on the reincarnated people, which are matching with the ones suffered by the past in the past life, which caused the death. So this clearly suggests that these ones from the past life have somehow been transferred to the new life, and the vector for transmitting this is exactly the spiritual body, as per the spiritist body of knowledge. So this discovery of Ian Stevenson is fully matching with this spiritist body of knowledge teaching about the spiritual body. And there are other examples. For instance, uh, Rodrigo was talking about suicide. So harming some part of the physical body, causing death, is also having an impact on the spiritual body. And this impact is uh, not cleaned or solved or like this. It's a lot of times bringing back to the new life some difficulties, like, for instance, if you took some poison who harmed the digestive system in the next life, you may have some difficulties in the digestive systems, or you may have a cancer or something like that. So it's exactly what Rodrigo told. It's a simple natural law. It's not a punishment. It's just something. The punishment is basically you hit your finger with a hammer, so the punishment between brackets is it hurts. You have suffering and pain because of this. So it's not a punishment. It's simply the application, the fulfillment of a given natural law, which science has. It's science duty to discover and to understand better these natural laws, which are not covering, by the way, only material aspect, but they are also natural laws covering the spiritual part of the being.
Yeah, Charles. It is interesting because how everything connects. We have some people saying, "Oh, Spiritism just blame the past, just blame things we have done in the past, and we cannot remember what we have done." So, uh, I advocate that yes, many things we are the challenge we are facing today. Uh, Part of it is related to previous lives, previous incarnations, but a great majority of the sufferings we are having today, it is caused by the person you are today. So, how you treat the others, how you behave with your children, how you what kind of person you are when you are working, how you treat the guy who is working in the supermarket as a cashier, how you treat your family. So, this is not acquired previous life, this is today. Of course, when we talk about, oh, this poor child born with cancer and suffering for 3 years and then passed away, yes, for me, in this case, it's purely a trial that spirit chose, either for by his own will or because to recover some debts from the past. But if you are here, listen us, for sure you need to analyze how you are as a person today. Are you treating the others the same way you would like you to be treated? And this is a kind of healing because when you realize you need to change yourself, but you can say, "Oh, I I will not treat because nobody treats me the way I want. Everybody comes with sharp answers." Yes, but that's the challenge. When you pray to God to give you patience, to give you resilience, to give you strength, He will not with a magic wand and say, "Hey, Rodrigo, here 1 kilo of more patience. Hey, Charles, here is 2 kilos of more resilience." No, He will allow you to go to situations, moments in which you need to exercise your patience, and then you know how to have more patience. He will put you in challenge in which you need to work your resilience, your faith, in order to acquire more faith, in order to be more resilient. We need to understand that the universe does have law and rules, and God will not break any of those rules. And the math here is simple. When we try to break those rules, we suffer. Simple like that. Okay.
But not
That's
because God put the suffering
exactly.
as it's simply because God created the laws and those laws are perfect. The laws of God creates harmony, balancing, peace, everything we like to have. But when we choose to go off the road, let's say this way, we will face the difficulties of being
Yeah.
off the road.
Yes.
So it's not the same. So this is simple like that. So if we are not acting according to God's laws, we are simply choosing the most difficult way. And then what happens is that the difficult way provides suffering, and that suffering helps us to understand why God's laws are the perfect ones and needs to be followed. It's simple like that.
Yes, well said, Rodrigo. Well said. This is it. And when we discover this, when we figure out that there is nobody punishing me, there's nobody waking up in the morning and say, okay, today, let me see, there is a guy here living in the south of France. I will make him suffer today. No, that is not like this. God is love. Full stop. How he gonna harm you? He just allow you to go to this path, as Rodrigo said, because going to this path will teach you the lesson, and you will learn. And any moment, because he loves you, he will gonna be there supporting you, giving his hands to allow you to transpose that obstacle in a best way. At the end, my friends, when you look at the mirror, that's the person who make you happy or who make you suffer. Charles, do what are your comments?
Yes, indeed. I
Did I
mean,
deviate too much from our topic?
it's very difficult to, because our aim is suffering exists, okay, and this is even the what Leon Denis wrote in the problem of the being and the destiny, his book. Suffering exists, is a reality. He even says everything suffers on our earth, in nature, not only human but also animals and whatever. So the real question is why, huh? Why is this reality? And it's very difficult to talk to someone who is suffering, uh, to explain this person that first, the suffering can have a cause which depends on his own past actions, and second, that
Mhm.
his suffering is basically helping this person in understanding this and changing his attitude in order to avoid repeating the same from the present and the future. Because that's basically, for instance, when you put your hand on something which is hot on a hot plate, you feel pain immediately, and this is good, because imagine if you would not feel pain, you would burn you much more severely than by feeling the pain, removing immediately your hand. So we can see, how to say, some positive effect of suffering. Protection. Suffering is even bringing us a protection, a warning, an alert, or an alarm or something. And also education. Don't put your hand on a hot plate. We learn from this. This is undiscussable. But of course, the level of suffering is then depending a lot on how much we still have to learn, how much we still have to suffer the consequences of our past actions. So the best way is still, let's try, as Rodrigo very well said, let's try to act the most as we can nowadays in harmony with the divine's law or the natural laws. So as long as we are in harmony with them, then the suffering has no reason to be here and to come, or will even cease in most of the cases. So the solution is again in our hands. Stevan also told it very wisely. We have to, when we suffer, we have to look ourselves in the mirror. Where is the cause of my suffering? It's most of the time in ourselves, and depending only on ourselves, on the good use of our free will, of our will to stay in harmony with the natural law. And then from this, we will go in the direction of harmony, of peace, and health, and whatever. And this is applicable both for physical suffering, but also for emotional or moral sufferings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say in the Spiritist Center that this life or the incarnated life is a gym. I mean, but it's not a gym for the matter. It's a gym for to exercise where we exercise our moral virtues, which that's why we are here. We are exercising, uh, eliminating what's not necessary because it harms us. So the things we are doing wrong, or the things that are not according to God's laws, and helping to understand to understand the God's laws and why those are important, and why those are important for our own happiness. So, and that's what we are doing. And but this is a moral, a gym for to exercise our moral virtues. So, if having said that, if you go to the gym and you start in the gym, and then you go there and the teacher there says, oh, you need to do this exercise with this weight, and then you go there, but then of course you think it's too light, and then nobody's looking, and then you say, no, I'll show everyone that I'm very strong, and then I get that the heavy weight, and what happens is that I cause an injury in my muscles, and that injury prevents me from going to the gym for 1 or 2 months, because I injured my muscles doing exercise in the wrong way. So that helps me to understand. Oh, I need to pay attention to what that teacher. So he was saying that thing because he's wise enough and he knew what was good for me, but I didn't follow that. So now I'm here at home getting fatter or less healthy because I cannot go to the gym. So this why that did it happen? It happened because in the use of my free will, in the use of my decision making, ownership, let's say this way, I decided to do things which are not according to what was the best thing for me. And then the suffering is a consequence of me, of course, of my actions. Of course, we are not saying that to say, hey, you are wrong, so you deserve that. No, because every one of us here uh, did wrong in the past and are still doing wrong in this life. So we are not perfect. That's why we are here in this world. So we are still evolving and learning how to follow God's laws. So we are still in the gym, but of course, in the gym, we are learning with each other, and we are learning. The learning process comes also with the suffering. As Charlie said, the suffering is the red light saying, hey, wrong way, wrong way, wrong way, for us to adjust the route, for us to be back and to do things differently. So if we don't listen to the warning, the suffering takes longer. So I think it was in the Spirit's book that Kardec said, for how long? And the Spirit said, well, as long as the Spirit wants. So
Yes.
it takes the time that we decide to do things differently. Simple like that. But the point is that sometimes we are so stubborn that it takes a long time for us to learn something. And unfortunately, this comes with a lot of suffering. But sometimes suffering needs to reach its deepest level for us to say, hey, from here now I cannot go further or deeper. I need to wake up and I need to do something different. Of course, we don't want anyone to reach this level of suffering to learn. What we would like, so everyone here, what we would like everyone to do is to have the least or the minimum suffering necessary for us to do some things better. But unfortunately, this is not this way because we are learning, and sometimes it takes long time for us to really get things in our brain, but most of all in our heart, because our decision making unfortunately is guided. Unfortunately, not. It's a way of saying everything has has let's say a purpose and a beautiful purpose because it was created by God. But our decisions are taken based on our emotions. So that's why we need to balance our emotions and to align this with our thoughts, with things we learn to do things different. If it was if it was so easy to do things well, it's simple. We would put every all the human beings in a classroom, and we would explain the teachings of Jesus in one day. So we could do that. Say, hey, just the main ones, the main teachings. We should not go to everything, but the main ones. Everybody would be leaving the classroom as pure spirits. But we know that this is not this way because myself, Charles, Stevan, how many times we have listened or studied or read the gospel according to Spiritism. And I'm pretty sure we live this life today and we will commit mistakes
Yeah.
because it doesn't depend on our thoughts of what we have here. It depends on what we have here, how we perceive things. No, how without the background we bring from our past lives, all the tendencies, all the habits, everything, and not only that. So we bring with us all our friends and enemies with us because every plate we leave uncleaned. So every time we eat and we don't clean the plate, so that comes to us for us to clean. If we don't want to do it now, we need to do it later. So we cannot defer to anyone our tasks. We cannot defer to anyone the things we should do. If we cause harm to someone, we need to solve that problem ourselves. And sometimes God's allows the God's allows the spirits to do the obsession because this is the only way for us to clean the plate we left dirty in the past. So we cause harm to someone, that person is angry with us. She's not, the person is not well, is still not understanding or not accepting or not forgiving because the spirits have free will. And now we suffer the obsession. And this is the, how can I say, the the possibility we are having to show this spirit we are different, to convince them somehow with our actions that uh, we also want him to do things differently and to forgive us and to look for his own sake and look for other opportunities as we are doing to do things better. I think that's, I think I went, I talked a lot now. I'll leave with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So we only have 5 minutes, and I want you to finish, Charles, with you because what, just just keep going on what Rodrigo said. Uh, Forgiveness, it is one of the best healing we have. So I'd like you to comment something, Charles, about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this subject not so long ago,
Yeah.
but really, when we forgive, we free ourselves from something. Huh? Uh, if we don't forgive and we keep these feelings and this hate and things, we are turning ourselves ill. This is clearly lack of forgiveness is one of the cause of suffering. Huh? Is clearly one of the cause. So, okay, we suffered something which is not fair. It's not because we forgive that what we have suffered is not fair. But when you forgive, you free yourself. You know that the one or the ones who did something unfair to us, you know who they are, what they are capable of. You know that they are at evolution, spiritual evolution level, which is what it is. We are here on humanity. We are also not perfect. Huh? Earth is not the home of the angels. So if we are here, is because we are not angels, and we are all doing wrongs and harming willingly or unwillingly the others. So without forgiveness, we could not even live together. We could not even work together, do something together. Huh? So, what do we want? Do we want to make ourselves ill by keeping these bad thoughts and so on, calling spirits which are, will amplify this vicious circle in us, or we just cut it and said, okay, uh, I suffered something, it was not fair, but I forgive, and this makes me free to continue my way, to build other things, to think about even how to prevent from some things similar to be done onto me, and so on. So we go from a negative circle, vicious circle, to a beneficial circle, and continuing our life and our progress. Huh? And sometimes, as Rodrigo said, unfortunately, we have difficulties to forgive, and then comes the consequences of not forgiveness, which is suffering. And this helps us to understand that the only way, the best way for me and for everything is this way of forgiveness, clearly.
Beautiful, Charles. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, final words, Rodrigo.
Yeah, I think I would just recall what spirits explained about what is charity according to Jesus' teachings. No, so which is benevolence to everyone or doing good to everyone. No, being indulgent, which means that everyone commits mistakes. So if everyone commit mistakes, so I also commit mistakes, and uh, then we need to see others as we see ourselves. So people who are trying to do the best we can to evolve. Um, and then the last one, which is forgiveness, which is exactly what Charles explained. So if you really want to love, because everybody wants to be loved, because love is the opposite of suffering. I mean, love is the opposite of not having things good. So if you want to be loved, we need to love. Simple like that. And how we love? Doing good, being indulgent, and forgiving. So we need to do these three steps. If any part of this is missing, we are still not there. So we really need to exercise that in our day to day, because uh, um, I remember Joanna de Angelis saying, um, what for her what is happiness, or happiness is the capacity of having serenity in any circumstance of life. Because if we are facing, if we are in this exercise, in this gym, it doesn't mean that we'll be having all the good things in this life. So if that's the way, so we need to look this life in a different perspective. And serenity, being having serenity in other circumstances, helps us to suffer or to have pain, but understanding what it is for. No, not why me, not God is unfair. No, what it is for. What is this teaching me? What do I need to learn with that? If when we do that, so suffering will have a different meaning. Of course, pain will be there, uncomfort or discomfort, or uh, everything which we can put in the basket of suffering. But we will be facing it different. That's what I would like to say. So let's look at the things in life not as why me, but what it is for, what is bringing to me, and how can I make use of that to evolve and to do things better and to have more harmony in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
So make positive use of adversity, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Pat, Pat, Pat K said, I have liked this discussion so much and will listen to it again another time. I personally like the example of burning, and the suffering can be helpful into realizing change is needed.
Exactly.
Thank you,
Well
Pat.
done.
Well, thank you very much for your
Spot on.
feedback. This is giving us a boost to keep here.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Okay, so let's go to our announcements. Let's share my screen. Okay, so next week, oh, something wrong here. Wrong file. Wrong file. Let's share the other screen. One moment. Okay, so next week, our friend Munir gonna be with us, and we will discuss about inner peace in a busy world. Learn to calm the mind and heart. Okay, I need that. Yeah, good, good. I'm gonna be just the intermediary here. So don't forget, 24th of June at 9 p.m. London time. Also, every Saturday, 10:30 a.m., we do have the Mediums book study, online study with Munir, Charles, and Guilherme. Oh, why this? Something happened here. So every other Sunday from 8:30 to 10 p.m., we do have the study group about Joana de Angelis, and any more details, please contact our friend Fabrício Assunção. So from 18 to 20th of September, we will have in Vegemont the 9th European Spiritist Gathering. And along with this, we will have the 9th Kids European Gathering and the first Youth European Gathering. It's going to be amazing. We will have basically three generations inside of the same building, just talking about Spiritism. So anyone, it is more than welcome. There is no excuse. You can bring your children along with you, and it is a good moment to learn more about Spiritism. No background is required, just your free will. Soon we're gonna disclose the agenda and all the fees because we can sleep in the castle. So it'll be amazing. So please keep reading Spiritism Magazine. It's free, always with good articles and content. I want to say thank you to Kardec Radio for giving us this space, to Buzz, to Francophonic Spiritism Movement in France, to Life Spiritist Society in Denmark, and to Irish Spiritist Federation for the support and giving to us the credit to be here every Wednesday. So I want to say thank you. Thank you, Rodrigo, for your time. Thank you, Charles
Thank you.
Merci, for your time as well. I'll see you all next week. Thank you also to Gupa Talks, to Luviem, to Patrick 7100, to Martina, to Brusca Embargada, to Dan R., to Spiritism Estonia, to Eliane Monteiro Andrade, to all those friends who were able. Maria, let me see here. Maria Elizabeth Fodra. So thank you. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Bless.
Bye bye. God bless you all.